Today I am visiting with Dr. Robert McSorley, a nematologist from the University of Florida in Gainesville. We're in the organic unit at the Plant Science Research and Education Center in Citra, Florida. The University of Florida Organic Unit has 37 certified acres and 20 acres in transition. This land is used for research, teaching, and education. So once producers receive a nematode assay report and they've confirmed the presence of nematodes in the field, what sort of management practices do you recommend?
The most important thing before we do anything else is sanitation. We want to try to remember that nematodes can't move very far because they're microscopic. So the only way they move around is if we give them help. So we don't want to have dirty equipment or dragging soil around from contaminated areas. Also, we want to be careful if we're bringing in transplants or other material in the field that these things are clean and free of nematode material. Okay? If areas are very heavily infested, we might want to avoid those for planting and consider them later on. And it may also be possible in some cases, if we have a moderate nematode infestation, to select cultivars of plants that are resistant to those nematodes.
So Bob, I know you've done a lot of research on the effect of cover crops on nematodes. It would be great if you could provide some recommendations for growers who are interested in using cover crops in that manner.
Again, it depends on what kind of nematode you're trying to manage, but the one that gives us a most trouble is root knot nematodes. That's a problem on a lot of vegetable crops, and these are ones that we can avoid by, or reduce their populations by using favorable cover crops. Things such as sorghum sudan grass and sorghums, they don't generally build up on very much. So if we're in the off season, we might be able to grow something like this, or over the winter time, maybe something like rye that the nematode doesn't like. And this way, we're creating an unfavorable environment for that nematode. That nematode will not feed on those crops, so they won't increase their populations. So for instance, if we have root knot nematode and we're going through the summer, we put sorghum in there, the nematode populations wouldn't increase very much. If we put okra in there as a cover crop, the nematodes would increase and we'll face a terrible nematode problem in the next fall.
I see. So cover crops add a lot of organic matter into the soil. What is the effect of organic matter on nematodes?
Okay. Organic matter is generally very helpful in nematode management because it feeds the soil food web and all the natural enemies that nematodes have in the soil. Nematodes have a wide range of natural enemies, things that feed on them, reduce their populations, and the more of these type of things that occur in the soil food web, the more things we have preying and parasitizing the nematodes. Also, the organic material helps us with moisture management, so it relieves some of the moisture stress that plants will be feeling with nematodes and produces a more favorable environment for them that way as well. Excellent.
So what happens if time is short and producers don't feel that they have enough time to plant a cover crop? Would tillage be an option in controlling nematodes?
Tillage, the only option, the advantage of having tillage is that it may remove hosts of nematodes. So you might eliminate weeds and things like this that nematodes could be living on. The tillage itself, exposing the soil to the sun, doesn't really do enough to affect the nematodes. You might kill a few nematodes on the very surface, but there's a lot of them laying in that soil ball that aren't really affected all that much.
Bob, you mentioned the sun can be used to kill nematodes. Is solarization an effective strategy?
Yes, this is a possible way to use the sun's energy to kill nematodes. And what solarization involves is heating the soil underneath a clear plastic. So you would lay clear plastic on the top of the soil and seal that plastic in and let the solar rays pass through the plastic and heat up that soil underneath. And this actually will heat the soil up to 110 to 120 degrees, which will kill the nematodes down to about 5 or 6 inches. Okay. Has to be clear plastic so the sun's rays will pass through it. Doesn't work if it's a dark plastic or a black plastic that won't pass the sun's rays through. We keep this clear plastic in place for about 6 weeks to reduce the nematode population that way through solarization. And it's also very good for weeds as well. So it'll kill weed seeds and some other problems as well. But the nematodes will recover if you grow tomatoes or some other susceptible crop. They'll slowly build back up on those from deeper soil layers. But it is a nice way to reduce the nematodes for a vegetable crop.
Excellent.